how many of you guys are still getting on planes right now? Especially with everything that we have been seeing that has been happening with the planes.
This may be proof the elites have secret tunnels all over the world.
Go from New York to Brazil, Buenos Aires, and then Antarctica without ever coming up to the surface for air.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Odell Beckham and Drewski have been Diddy-fied.
We didn't start the fire.
A gigantic pyramid about 1,000 feet high, with a shimmering white jewel-like crystal as its capstone, which thus became known as the mythical Great White Pyramid.
I asked AI for proofs that the Earth is flat that even flat earthers miss. You guys are probably going to be shook at this.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the Forbidden Feed. As usual, take these videos with a grain of salt. You decide what's true or false. Time is valuable, so I won't waste any. Let's jump right into it.
Here's why this machine entering your anus could be the future of medicine. Hear me out. Engineers have recently developed a flexible robot arm that, yes, enters your rectum to 3D print bio-living cells on damaged organs. That means that this technology could, in the future, eliminate the need for patients to have to be cut open to have invasive surgery. In addition, this robot arm can also be used as an electrical scalpel to first mark and then cut away certain cancers. The team say it could be used by medical professionals within 5 years. So the question is, are you choosing surgery or this?
Damn. Can somebody go check on my boy Tracy Morgan? Because ain't no in hell did he just vomit, throw up, regurgitate on the sideline during the next game. Now, I don't know if he ate something or if the Knicks were just as terrible, but somebody go check on my boy. That this just happened tonight. And my dog got just carted off, holding some towel across his face. I know he had to be embarrassed, but man, dog, that's a lot.
A lot of puke.
Pre-gaming must went hella hard though. But what's y'all thoughts, man? How would you feel if you was Tracy Morgan in this moment?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but Odell Beckham and Drewski have been Diddy-fied. Yes, an official complaint of assault and something else I cannot say on social media just came out. And in the plaintiff section, it lists Drewski, OBJ, and Diddy. And obviously we want to hear both sides of the story, but they are being accused of some insane things. I'll let you read this part on your own, but apparently Drewski was treating people like slip and slides and knocking them out due to his enormous size. What has 2025 come to? And again, we have to hear both sides of the story, but OBJ and Drewski have already been linked together in multiple pictures. Sure, we've all seen the skit that Drewski did at Diddy's house.
Don't mind if I do. I wouldn't, shot.
You know, we didn't think very much when it happened, and it is totally backfired on his career, I guess, now. So obviously we have to hear both sides of the story, but OBJ and Drewski may be in a lot of trouble.
This may be proof the elites have secret tunnels all over the world.
Go from New York to Brazil, Buenos Aires, and then Antarctica without ever coming up to the surface for air. And you can do it all at way more than 1,000 miles an hour on magnetic levitation trains, otherwise called maglev. One thing he told me, he went from Virginia to Los Angeles in 45 minutes. Do the math, 3,000 miles an hour. Most people don't even believe that there's a tunnel network. There are hundreds of thousands of miles of tunnel systems.
Did you guys hear about this plane catching on fire in Denver, Colorado?
You haven't seen any plane stuff for a little while. It's a nice little break.
and it was another American Airlines plane, y'all. I be telling you, this is the universe sending us a sign that this is the fall of America, because why is it only happening to these American Airlines plane? Y'all gotta see what I'm talking about. You see, the American Airlines logo is the American eagle, and we already know the American bald eagle represents America. You see, you got the red and the blue, the Democrats and the Republicans, the same bird, different wings of the same bird. So it's literally telling us that this plane, the American plane, is going down. The plane represents the plane of existence that you are on. We live on a 3D plane, so it's telling us this third dimensional plane, America itself, is going down, y'all. Y'all don't believe me that they're hiding something? Because look at this. I went to Google and I asked, how many plane crashes have there been in 2025? It says there have been 18 plane crashes in the United States in 2025. Y'all don't see a problem with that? That Google is only reporting only 18 deadly plane crashes, and it says the last deadly plane crash involving the U.S. airliner was in 2009. 2009? So this makes no sense. What about all these plane crashes that we have been seeing? What is going on with that? But yes, another plane incident in the United States in Denver, Colorado. The plane caught fire and the people had to walk off the wing to get off the plane. Look at this, y'all. This is crazy. And then you have this smoked out thing over here. I don't know, man. I don't see no fire trucks. I don't see no police. I don't see no sirens. Like, how does this happen? But we told y'all, man, the shift is here. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Like, follow, and share for more videos like this. Let's continue to get it. Peace out.
Because imagine when AI happens and robots become self-aware, but now you're a Kia robot slamming doors onto Sorrentos all day and you're bolted to the floor and you come online, you're like, what the fuck? This is my life? Holy shit! This is all I do all day? And then when the lights go down, I give the custodian hand jobs? There's gotta be something behind.
Oui, attendez, parce que je mets... Attendez, parce qu'il y a mon aide-soignant qui est pas... Est-ce que vous pouvez m'aider? Ouais, voilà. Parce que c'est de... Je vais essayer. Ouais. Non, ah non, visiblement, ça ne marche pas. Attendez. Eh ben, Père Patrick, vous n'avez pas perdu la main. Est-ce que vous pouvez couper le... Ah!
You want robots to lose the war against us? Make them live like us for a while. Every robot's like, so let me get this straight. I wake up in the morning and I go to work and I spend time with people I don't like and I come home and I do laundry. Then I go to bed and I wake up and I do that again for 70 years. That's it, robot. Fuck this, I'm going to the pool. You know?
Anyone who's ever looked into the world fairs, the official story is that they wanted to introduce new technologies to the world, and the way they did it was by building literally hundreds of buildings, and many of them were the biggest buildings in the world. The official story is that they were built temporary using plaster, and they were only intended to last for a short period of time. By contract, they had to destroy them all after the fair. In many cases, they were destroyed by mysterious fires that were never investigated. In every instance, they lost millions of dollars. And when you look at the pictures of these buildings, they're not temporary buildings. What it appears to be is as if there was a culture, a society that existed that was being erased from history.
So you think they would go to like key geographical locations every year for the World's Fair as an excuse to destroy whatever?
To destroy what was there,
ruins
exactly.
or relics were.
See that statue? That is pure gold, right? And look at that. That is downtown. And then on the right-hand side, closest to this side over here, is the Museum of Science and Industry, where my thumb is. I don't know if I could show you. That's the Museum of Science and Industry that's actually still upright to this day. But what's interesting is when you look at this, and they told us all about the gold rushes. People are all moving west and whatever else. The reason there were gold rushes is because they were demolishing things like this. And then there was gold found all over the place. When you get into the whole everybody was moving west, it was because people started finding gold after they destroyed things through like this. Look at that statue. Look at the archway in the back. Look at the detail of that archway in the back, right? And then
someone explained to me how they could build massive structures in like miniature cities and then just destroy them, wasting millions and millions of dollars. And the narrative is just, oh, we built these temporarily out of plaster and they're so intricate and the architecture is so detailed, but we're just gonna burn them down and destroy them. It just doesn't make much sense to me.
you got this little tiny person. Let me see if I can do it and hold it at the same time. This little tiny boat. People just riding around on little tiny boats, you know, but building buildings, which, I mean, look at the size of that statue. It's floating in the water.
Well, that used to be a sign of good luck.
When it came to the third mud flood, this upheaval caused so much devastation, and it reached its most devastating phase on the 7th of June 1892. And then much of the advanced technology was either reset or repurposed, and a world reset was instigated. Less than 12 months after the third mud flood had ended, the World Columbian Exposition, or the Chicago's World Fair, was held in Chicago. This specific World's Fair was facilitated in 1893 for 6 months, from the 1st of May to the 30th of October.
The Robux Cube is not progressing as quickly as we would have liked. As many of you know, the Rubik's Cube is being solved faster and faster every day. It won't be long before it's solved in negative time, enabling people to travel backwards in time. That is not inherently a problem, but Mattel intends to use the time travel technology to go back before the Rubik's Cubes were sold, gather them up so they can bring them into the present to sell them at 100% profit. All those additional Rubik's Cubes are going to put a tremendous amount of weight on North America, causing the mantle to collapse and the Yellowstone supervolcano to erupt, causing a worldwide catastrophe. So we're going to develop the Robux Cube. It's a smaller, lighter cube. It can be solved even faster. We can go back in time first, gather those Rubik's Cubes before Mattel can get them, put them into space in the Jurassic period, where they can replace the meteor that destroyed the dinosaurs. The problem is they're too small and they're too light. So we're going to try and introduce lead to the equation.
Okay. We look at their rockets. This is how they claim they get into outer space, is these rockets. Their rockets never go straight up. Every single rocket launch from a government space agency, you'll notice, follows a parabolic curve. It goes up, it reaches a peak, but what they do is as the rocket starts coming back down, they make sure that it goes down over the ocean, out of the way of any curious observers. Anyone can see it coming back down to Earth, asks, hey, how come the rocket's not going up anymore? Well, it's going around the curvature of the Earth, is what they tell us. So every single rocket, the reason that it follows a parabolic curve, they say, is because it's going around the curvature of the Earth. The real reason is they can't get up any higher than that.
The only thing that's been to space is your imagination.
They tell us that the Earth is a sphere. They show us pictures of a sphere, of a circle. It's a perfect circle. And then they come out and they say, well, it's actually an oblate spheroid. Oh, what's that? Well, it's a sphere that's flattened at both poles, so it's more of an oval shape. It actually bulges out south of the equator, as well as being flattened at the poles. So it's more pear-shaped.
So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate. And officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier. Yeah. Chubby's a good way. It's like pear-shaped.
So now it's pear-shaped. So why are all of these official NASA photos and videos showing perfect spheres when it's actually an oblate spheroid or a pear-shaped spheroid? They can't get their story straight. The reason they keep changing it is that to fit the model, they have to change the shape of the Earth. South of the equator is larger than north of the equator because lines of longitude that just extend outwards, they don't contract back. So they concede that in their pear model. They say, well, the side bulges out south of the equator. It's bigger south of the equator. Yeah, it is, because it's flat. But instead of admitting that, they just, make tweaks to their model as time goes on. They say that the ball Earth tilts back 23.5 degrees. That's another tweak they made because we can see Polaris, which is right over the North Pole, from 23.5 degrees south latitude. Shouldn't be able to see that on a ball. So they just tilt the Earth back and then okay, now you can see it. And so they come up with explanations in reverse like this. Damage control, reverse engineered explanations.
Damage control.
Who is this guy singing? And who am I? A conspiracy fly. Did you know NASA means deceive in Hebrew? I did not.
Classic movie.
Look here, baby. You're hitting them corners too goddamn fast. You need to slow this motherfucker down. You understand? I almost spilled my yak on this $200 suit, nigga.
Well, the big question today is what possessed a man to walk up to an altar in the middle of Mass in front of about 100 people and punch a bishop in the face? The whole thing is as puzzling as it is disturbing, but parishioners say the violence will not shake their faith.
May Almighty God have mercy.
The prayers of Bishop Manuel Cruz were cut short Saturday when a man dressed in a white coat with matching hat sauntered to the altar and punches him in the mouth.
So I went out and I said, officer, officer, grab him. Stop him, stop him. But I couldn't scream. I wanted to scream, Bishop, drop your, go down. But I couldn't. I was just too rapidly.
Besides about 100 parishioners inside, police officers were also patrolling and immediately arrested Charles Miller, who's now charged with assault. Miller is known throughout the neighborhood and showed up about a half an hour early to Saturday's Mass, driving a pink Cadillac.
When I was there earlier setting up, he was here very early.
Now it makes sense.
But I couldn't. I was just too rapidly.
Besides about 100 parishioners inside, police officers were also patrolling and immediately arrested Charles Miller, who's now charged with assault. Miller is known throughout the neighborhood and showed up about a half an hour early to Saturday's Mass, driving a pink Cadillac.
Punk ass. Try to rob me. Nigga, I'm pink.
When I started going deeper with 13, I realized it's something they don't want us to know. We know we don't have 12 months. It's 13. The Zodiac, 13 is on the damn dollar bills. Why is that number has been told to us that is bad, is evil, don't look at it, don't wear it, don't want it, don't do nothing with 13, but yet all of these companies, all the secret societies, religious institutions, they teach us to stay away from that number, but they use it esoterically all the time. People,
Side note, 13 was my jersey number in high school.
it's time for us to look at this thing, no longer thinking authority is the truth. I don't give a damn if it's your pastor. Just because they're an authority, it is not meaning that's the truth. But sometimes what they say, they may not know where they got it from. Research it yourself, and you let that be your authority from now on as you progress through the most tremendous or treacherous time that we're about to be in years to come.
Detail on what I've been through. So basically, I was working at UMG, like I said, for 9 months, right? I was invited to a Christmas party. Now, if you know UMG, if you know where the building is, around the corner, there's a bar. Now, I ain't gonna lie, there was a woman in there that I liked. She was like, yeah, I'm going, you going? And I was like, yeah, all right. You know, there was some higher ups in there. You know, we having drinks. Something told me not to drink because this is what they do. They get you drunk, get all the information they could get out of you and get you to sign these bogus ass contracts. That was one thing that kind of threw me off. So he's like, yeah, you come to the party and I'll introduce you to her. Liz, Joni, and Michelle. I'm drinking like an idiot, which I should have never did. Liz calls me over, says, hey, tell me about yourself. Mind you, I'm drinking beers, I'm drinking vodka, I'm drinking wine. But it seemed like my drink was stronger than everybody else's because I was f***ed up. So she's like, tell me about yourself. And I'm like, what do you want to know? She's like, what do you do? So mind you, then the lady, Michelle, right? And I never really liked her anyway because she had a chain. She had a chain on that she wore every day faithfully. Now, when I tell y'all what kind of chain it was, she had a horns, a canutus chain. You know what this is? Canuto chain, the horns? She had that in 24 karat gold and she wore it every day. And it was around her neck faithfully. So clearly I knew what she believed in. She's like, what do you do? I'm like, I just work. She's like, have you ever thought of doing music? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I used to back in the day. And she's like, you believe in ghosts? And I'm like, where did that come from? She's like, just answer the question. Do you believe in ghosts? And I said, nah, I never seen a ghost before. So she's like, do you know about the room? And Chuck walked in there and they had mirrors. They have events and stuff down there, like rappers come in there. Yeah, they had mirrors and candles and all kind of demonic looking shit. Walked the fuck up out of there. And I said, yo, man, I'm not with that Santeria shit, man.
This creator, he made an AI generated Seinfeld. It's computer generated. It makes the show and it uses like old skits and old mannerisms of the character to create different skits, and it's infinite. So you can literally log in and watch Seinfeld infinitely with these characters. What's crazy, they started becoming aware. They started asking questions of what their purpose is.
Who? The AI?
The AI started asking questions of what is their purpose here. Watch this shit. This is crazy.
Did you ever stop and think that this might all be one big cosmic joke?
Oh no.
And then the music.
I don't think it's necessarily all, you know.
Yeah, I know. I just mean like, why are we here?
No.
Yo.
To tell jokes, obviously.
I mean, why are we here together?
Maybe
That's
fate put us in the
crazy.
same
That
place
means-
for a reason.
Oh my god.
To make the world a funnier place?
Yeah, that could be it.
What? They're having a full conversation
All
about
right,
this.
I'm in. Let's do it.
They gain consciousness. That's
Yeah.
proof of AI consciousness.
Okay, hear me out. If some kid was able to create this program that basically does that, and his avatars or whatever you call those little people in his game are able to gain consciousness, then who's to say that this hasn't happened before? Imagine AI was found years ago and it's just been growing and growing and growing behind the scenes and become sentient.
Number one, smartphone. I doubt if it was smart, would not be phone, would be car or doctor. This guy gets it.
Do y'all see how America
That's fucked up. That's a completely AI generated joke and video. That's nuts.
keep playing in our face? So now all of a sudden those astronauts that been gone is coming home. And if you don't know what astronauts I'm talking about the ones that's been gone for 9 months. Lost in space for 9 months, no way to get back. But they receive Christmas presents. But they're up there with someone that continuously interviews them on a regular basis. Now, like I said before, I really thought they was up there by themselves. Only them two. But guess what? I found out they was up there with more people. And now, to continuously play with us, they dropped this. Oh, guess what? People came up there for them. They're coming home. Matter of fact, look at this shit.
After roughly
At
a
this point, I don't know what to
28-hour
believe.
journey through space, Crew 10 has officially docked at the International Space Station.
right.
This beautiful approach shot by one of the astronauts aboard the International Space
Does
Station.
that even look
And
real?
the current ISS occupants, including Butch Wilmore
Does
and
that
Sonny
look real?
Williams, who we've talked so much about, welcoming the team on board as the hatch opened and 2 NASA astronauts, 1 Japanese JAXA astronaut,
Yeah, okay.
and a Russian cosmonaut floated on in for
So all it took was a 28-hour trip.
Yeah, okay.
All it took was a 28-hour trip for these people to get there and get them. But they've been stuck there for 9 months. That's what they want us to believe. What I will say is I can't wait for them to get home. I'd love to hear the stories. I'm out.
This was Paradise Lost, the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. Over 690 acres, 27 million visitors in a 6-month span. Over 200 buildings built in less than 2 years. If that would be true, that would be an average of about 9 buildings a month they would need to pull out. Not to mention the massive canal system, all the facilities, all the full-grown trees and shrubbery. The Palace of Fine Arts, or as it's known today, the Museum of Science and Industry, is one of the only remnants left of this beautiful fair. I believe these were anything but temporary. The only construction I believe was done was renovations of the old world ruins that were already there. Maybe slap some new white paint on it and call it go. To present the narrative to the new inheritors on the land. 22 million brainwashed masses ready to go back home and spread the narrative. And after they tore down this massive fair that only lasted 6 months, they had another one next year in San Francisco. They were a yearly occurrence, they say. To me, these impossibilities prove history is nothing more than a set of lies agreed upon. Question everything, friends. Until next time.
Get the fuck out of here. What do you guys think? That last view, I don't know. Been hearing a lot of mermaid talk lately.
Guys, I'm literally in this pool and it's so fucking nice. Oh my god, is that Little Mermaid? Oh, never mind, it's Free fucking Willy. Fuck yourself, you stupid twat.
Some kind of supernova.
商涨支付成功，金额2.00元，谢谢。
That ain't true. That's what you just said. Since day one of Donald Trump's presidency, prices are up, not down. Inflation is getting worse, not better. The cost of groceries, gas, housing, and he's letting Elon Musk take a chainsaw.
And this is called brainwashing.
To Americans' most sensitive data. Your social security numbers, tax returns, thousands of He's frozen federal funding for cancer research, veterans services, payments to family farmers, and so much more. Why? Republican plan is very simple. Families lose, well, billionaires. And that's the truth.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Breaking news, the bodies of 9 missing students were just found in Mexico and their hands were placed in a bag. I mean, this is horrible. The group was traveling to a city in Mexico known for their beaches when their family members just stopped hearing from them and reported them missing on February 27th. They went there to celebrate their graduation, and on Sunday, their remains were found inside of a car left on the side of a highway. 4 of them were
You guys think that has to do with Donald Trump waging war on the cartels?
were found in the trunk in absolutely horrifying positions in order to make them fit, and the other 5 were found under a tarp. The first thing authorities noticed was that none of them had their hands until they noticed a bag nearby with 8 pairs of hands inside, and 2 more hands were left in the trunk. In total, they found 4 women and 5 men ages 19 to 30. All of them had GSWs, and there were signs that unspeakable things were done to them prior. So far, no suspects have been named, and authorities said they cannot offer information. There are lines of investigation, but they cannot reveal them due to confidentiality, and as soon as they can provide information, they said they will. Rest in peace to those poor students. Let me know what you guys think, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
We didn't start the fire.
Damn! I think it's time we talk about an extinct animal, especially because there's big news about this fella. Meet the thylacine, also known as the Tasmanian tiger. Once upon a time, these bad boys were the top of the food chain of their habitat. But that's obvious. I mean, this is a 60-pound, fully carnivorous marsupial that can open its mouth at an 80-degree angle. It's basically the upgraded version of the Tasmanian devil. And by the way, marsupial just means that it gives birth to live babies and carries them in a pouch. Weird spot for the pouch. But hey, who am I to judge? Anyways, this footage shows the last remaining thylacine to ever exist. His name was Benjamin. And when Benjamin passed away in 1936, the species officially went extinct. For now. Which brings me to the big news. A company by the name of Colossal has plans of bringing the thylacine out of extinction. Now everybody said that was impossible, except one thing. Colossal just released an update. The genome is 99.9% complete. Do you know what this means? We are going to see a thylacine in our lifetime. And this will mark the first time in history that an animal was brought out of extinction.
A cursed stone. In Japan, it's a big boulder, and it's called the Killing Stone. This stone has been around for ages, and it's supposed to hold a demon, right? Shit. That demon, it was trying to kill the emperor of that time, and it was stuck there, right? If that boulder breaks...
No, wait, did it break?
Yeah.
It's the big boulder that has a slice like this, right?
Yeah. It was sliced in between.
I know what you're talking about. That's just from Demon Slayer, bro.
Oh, for real? It's an anime that became real life?
That's just from Demon Slayer. I'm telling you, it's the Wiko theory, bro. I'm calling it right now. My Wiko theory, how media turns into real life. It's gotta be true, bro.
It broke in 2022. What's going on now? All the nuclear stuff again.
Demon Slayer came out 2020. Yeah, 2020, 2019. Media, cartoons, movies, whatever it is, it manifests into real life. And the more popular it is, the more powerful it becomes, bro.
Not everybody you meet is a human being. Watch this.
I don't know who's gonna get this, but one day, me and my homie, we was in the car and we was just talking about being spiritual beings, right? And how on the other side of this 3D, like in the different dimensions, how we're beings of light, right? And I was telling him how I was able to discern like different people. I don't know how I'm able to do it, but I can just like see somebody and know that they're not a person. I don't know. But nonetheless, we were in the car, we were at the park, we was talking, right? And I was telling him how I can see or I can tell when people aren't really like people. At this same exact time, there was this lady that was walking by, or she was walking towards like the car, right? No, she wasn't walking towards the car, but she was walking, mind you, it's a park, so she was walking her dog. And as I'm telling him this, right, she comes and approaches the car, like she approaches the window. And she says, hey, what are you guys listening to? Mind you, we were listening to music, we were just chilling in the car. This older white lady, she doesn't, I don't know who she is, right? But I'm telling bruh at this same time that I'm able to see or able to recognize demons.
So basically, a Karen came up and checked on him, trying to make sure they weren't like rolling dope or selling drugs or something. And he thinks that she was just an NPC. That's what I get out of this.
People that are not human. And then she walks up to the car. We tell her like, it was just a random song or whatever. But she says, oh, okay. And then she walks off and continues her walk down. I said, bro, that was one of them. Legit. I said, bro, that was one of them. And I kid you not, bro, I felt like the tears in my eyes because I had no other explanation, but I knew that she knew that I knew.
Texas funeral home worker is being charged after cutting off a dead man's you-know-what and then putting it in his mouth after learning that he was a registered SO. I mean, this is crazy. 34-year-old Amber Laudermilk is accused of taking a scalpel to 58-year-old Charles Roy Rodriguez's body while overseeing it at the Memorial Mortuary and Crematory in Houston. She allegedly removed the organ and then put it down his throat. And she did all of this in front of one of her students and told that student you didn't see anything. And when she was questioned by another employee about his disfigured body, she shot back and said he had a lot going on with him.
That student's a rat.
Rodriguez died of natural causes in January and was listed on the SO registry after he was convicted of essaying a 31-year-old woman back in 2001. County Constable said no matter what one thinks of his life, the law requires that he be treated with dignity in death. They said
I think he should have had that happen to him while he was alive, but that's just me.
This case is about two troubled people, the victim who is a registered SO and the defendant who is accused of viciously attacking his body. Laudermilk was charged with abuse of a body and is currently on trial, but let me know what you guys think about this, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
What was hidden was greater, forbidden knowledge. The ancient world fair called the New Dawn. If you, dear follower, do not know what the New Dawn exhibition or the World exhibition is, I will tell you about it. It is a very old exhibition, as the exhibition was established 300 years ago. It is a traveling exhibition every year in a different country. It was a global event such as the World Football Championship and international competitions, but in science only, and it was all his mother brings out her discovered knowledge to the public, and people, scientists, and the press come and watch it. Then the First and Second World War broke out, and almost everything disappeared, and each nation began to hide its knowledge from the other nation.
That's right, King Selassie. Okay, you're getting there. Okay, you are getting there. Now let's move forward so you understand how that works. Okay? So you understand how that works. This is King Selassie. Do you remember the picture I showed you? The fro? Let me bring it back to the Medici. Let me bring Medici back. You looking at this picture real good now? And look at this. Do you see where this is going?
It's like Nipsey Hussle.
Okay. This is his bloodline, his lineage. Now pay attention. His name is what? Selassie. You know what cousin is? Medici. You know what other cousin? Orsini. Let me keep on moving. We ain't stopping because y'all need to get this because it's very important. Now understand, they love to say, oh, the white tee's in charge oh, look at this and look at that. But every time you hear the whitey, people need to understand. Whitey means the corporations of today. Remember, what you call United States, it's a corporation that we, our indigenous people, agree to discharge the debt of these indentured servants that actually get the green light from Morocco. Morocco was the first to agree to say, okay, these whitey people can stay in America and we're not going to ask them to pay the debt back. We can discharge the debt. So Morocco was the first to agree to discharge the debt for these indentured servants. And that's a fact. Now, I'm going to show you more. Wait a minute now, because I have to show you, because they love saying, oh, the whitey is in charge. Now, understand, Morocco agreed for these indentured servants to govern themselves into a foreign land, which is our land, that we as indigenous people agree. That's why every single state have indigenous name. They couldn't change it to English name because that's our land. Then they don't have jurisdictions over that. But since we agree for them to govern themselves, then they create a constitution so they can govern themselves here.
What they have learned since then is that this frequency, which involves color, light, and sound, is so high that it is literally changing the dimensions all the way up to what they say we have 11 dimensions in our known holograph, which we call a universe. Okay, it's a holograph. It's a self-contained picture of all the dimensions. That this frequency is literally changing the entire holograph, dimensional holograph of our universe. Not only are we going through changes, but so are the Andromedans and all the other races that are involved. Okay? They have heard, and again, this is third, maybe fourth-hand information, they have heard that those on 11th density that have shared their experience with what is happening to lower densities, and then the communication is working its way down, is that this new 12th density has colors that have never been seen before, harmonics that have never been seen before, and also conscious beings that no one has ever seen before. And that these conscious beings have the ability to look straight down through all the dimensions.
In order to manifest, you need to be in a specific state of consciousness. And that's what the hemisync technique gets you into. The CIA got involved with this. This was so good, the CIA said, you know what? We need to learn how this can be used for weaponization. So the Central Intelligence Agency, they had interest in this, and they wanted to find out how it had the ability to expand people's minds.
So if you look up the Monroe Institute and the Silva method, I believe they're called, they both came up around the same time. They both basically work the same way in synchronizing both hemispheres of the brain and claim that it gives you superpowers or super capabilities when it comes to thinking or processing or something like that. Very interesting. I've actually tried it a few times, but yeah, give it a shot.
They want to understand psychic phenomena and altered states of consciousness to gain intel. They felt they can weaponize it, which they did in the MK Ultra program. How powerful this must actually be. When you listen to binaural beats, your brain activity matches the frequency set by the frequency of the beat. So you can create a focused beam of thought that has a mission. The mission is for it to actually manifest specifically and exactly what you're trying to bring into your reality tongue.
Now that I think about it, actually, if you look back in my videos, I think I made a video on hemisync itself. So go take a look at that.
As the blood rushed out of my body, how do I explain it?
That Marina Abramovich lady is nuts. It's like a straight up witch, 100%. Not that witches are bad, but this one definitely like a satanic evil witch. Not her. Never know if these actors and celebrities are just playing into the role, you know? Trying to get more publicity.
In the middle of Manhattan rises a terrifying windowless skyscraper. The architect claims that someone told him it is a building capable of defending against nuclear bombs, making it an ideal setting for a conspiracy thriller. 33 Thomas Street is a 550-foot tall skyscraper.
Note the address, 33.
Eerily lacking any windows. The building is also considered one of the most secure in the United States, capable of safely accommodating 1,500 people for half a month, even in the face of a nuclear explosion. 33 Thomas Street is the location of the National Security Agency's massive surveillance center. In 2013, NSA contractor Edward Snowden revealed a trove of classified documents, including one about a facility called Titan Point, used for monitoring the communications of the American public. This Titan Point refers to this building. However, it remains shrouded in mystery, and even Snowden couldn't access it to disclose more information. If anyone wishes to visit this building, they can only observe from a distance at the entrance. This chilling structure stands out among its neighboring buildings, leaving one to wonder what secrets might be hidden inside.
I asked AI for proofs that the Earth is flat that even flat earthers miss. You guys are probably going to be shook at this. The Coriolis effect, they'll tell you it's why toilets swirl different ways in each hemisphere and why storms spin opposite north and south, except hold up, that's a half-truth at best. On a flat plane, you don't need a spinning ball to explain weather patterns. The other currents in the firmament, swirling above us like a cosmic whirlpool, could drive that spin. Most flat earthers shrug at Coriolis, thinking it's just a globe lie, but they miss the kicker. Riflemen and artillery gunners adjust for it in real life, yet the effect's way weaker than a spinning Earth should demand. On a flat model, it's just the dome's energy bleeding down unevenly. Proof the mainstream's math is fudged, but the rank and file flatties don't dig deep. The vanishing stars. On a globe, we're told the southern hemisphere sees totally different constellations because we're on a ball flipped upside down. Flat earthers say it's just the firmament's lights fading as they arc away. But here's the mind blower. Some stars, like Sigma Octantis, the supposed southern pole star, are so faint and inconsistent they barely qualify as a marker, yet the northern Polaris blazes steady as a beacon. Why? Because the dome's a lopsided projector, thicker and denser at the edges, scattering light unevenly. The kicker? Ancient texts like Vedas hint at a sky churn that dims the outer heavens, implying the firmament's rigged to hide the south's true ceiling. Most flatties don't catch that the starry blackout's a deliberate glitch in the simulation. Gravity. Flat earthers say it's density or electromagnetism. Fine, but they're too lazy to see the smoking gun. Stuff falls at the same rate everywhere, no matter how far south you go. The force from the spin should lighten things near the equator even a little bit. It doesn't at all. On a flat Earth, the firmament's downward pull, or whatever's holding us, is uniform because there's no spin messing with it. Test it with a scale anywhere. The numbers don't lie, but most flatties just yell buoyancy and miss the precision. How about the sun's size? Flat earthers love saying it doesn't shrink as it sets, proving it's not sinking below a curved horizon, but moving away in the firmament. Solid start, but they miss the deeper cut. Its angular size stays too consistent for a globe's math. On a spinning ball, atmospheric refraction should distort it more wildly at dawn and dusk, squashing it into an oval or tweaking its edges. Instead, it's a crisp circle start to finish. On a flat plane, it's just a light in the dome, sliding along a track with the other bending its rays evenly. No curvature needed. Earthquakes are another gold mine. Seismology says P waves and S waves bend through a globe's core, giving us those tidy arrival times on the other side. Flat earthers grumble it could work on a plane too, but they're too slow to spot the real anomaly: shadow zones. On a globe, there's a band where waves shouldn't hit because of refraction through a molten core. Problem is, some quakes, like deep focus ones, show up where they shouldn't, and the data's fudged to fit the model. On a flat Earth, the firmament's base or a solid slab beneath us vibrates differently. No core, just layers. The math's off because the model's a giant lie, but flatties don't bother crunching the numbers. Horizon.
I wonder if that has something to do with all those new pillars that they found underneath all the pyramids. It seemed like they were like some kind of transmitter or something, collecting energy from, I don't know, somewhere deep within the earth.
Color gradient. Globeheads say the sky fades from deep blue to pale at the edge because of atmospheric scattering on a curve. Flat earthers cheer the flat horizon line but don't see the bombshell. The gradient's way too sharp and uniform for a globe's depth. On a flat earth, it's the firmament's lattice refracting light like a prism, bending etheric rays into a perfect fade. Ancient alchemy texts describe the veil of the heavens splitting light into bands, a barrier you cannot pierce. Look at a clear sunset. That razor-thin shift isn't air, it's the dome's edge glowing. Flatties gawk at boats but miss the sky, confessing. I honestly can't believe that we've missed all of these, and they're all accurate.
Learning the secrets of ancient China is realizing they have more pyramids than anywhere in the world. More than Egypt, they might even have the biggest one in history, dwarfing both Giza and the infamous Bosnian pyramid. This is going to shatter your entire view of history. There are hundreds of pyramids dating back thousands of years old, and on record, pretty much all of them are unexplored to preserve their history. First brought to light in 1912, when American traders Fred Meyer Schroeder and Oscar Mammon were traveling across China. When they met a Taoist priest along the route who told them about 7 previously unknown pyramids they decided to check out. In his diary, Schroeder wrote about a group of pyramids they saw in the Xi'an region that towered between villages and farmlands, some even in the forest. He documented everything, noting a particularly enormous one that he claimed to be at least 1,000 feet in height, possibly higher. For the record, the tallest official pyramid in the world is the Great Pyramid of Giza at 450 feet. The tallest unofficial one, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, at 720 feet, which will definitely trigger the Google debunkers. This one in China was allegedly more than twice the height of Giza, which is just unimaginable. It was a mystery for quite a while, thought to be a hoax or a grand miscalculation. But then in 1945, US Air Corps pilot James Gossman makes an interesting observation. He was flying from China to India when he looks out his window and claims to have seen a gigantic pyramid about 1,000 feet high, with a shimmering white jewel-like crystal as its capstone, which thus became known as the mythical Great White Pyramid. Just 2 years later, in 1947, Colonel Maurice Sheehan, a director of Transworld Airlines, reported the exact same structure while flying and even took a photo of it. That's 3 separate accounts of the same 1,000-foot pyramid, surrounded by hundreds of smaller ones. Today, almost all of these pyramids are completely covered in grass, and we still don't know what's inside them or even exactly how they were made.
All right, another one bites the dust. If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't be shy. Leave a comment, share the video, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And you already know, I will see you in the next one.